Great peace, Shakoki. This story of Lavena Johnson is going to keep coming up. It's going to keep coming up. Iran, America getting into squabbles. This is not the time for black women to be in the military. If you look at what happened, I was like 20 years old when I saw those autopsy photos of Lavena Johnson. They scrubbed the internet of them. She was like very brutally, horrifically just handled. You know, like when I first saw it, I was like, what were they saying to her? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about it, right? Like, to take out that type of vengeance on a human being, like, you couldn't have come from a loving family. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way they did her, like, they did her dirty. But, like, this is not the time to be in the military if you're a black woman. This is not the time. Because, like, they offered me a 2-year contract. The 2-year contract was completed, but I didn't stay the entire service. I did like 3 months active duty. And I completed BCT. I completed basic combat training. The end of those 3 months, I went and saw my first sergeant. I told him, I said, I don't like the way, you know, the drill sergeants, you know, they are toward me. I don't like that, you know what I mean? I want to leave, you know, and we sat down, we talked about it, and they gave me a general under honorable conditions discharge. And I'm not sure if that converted into an honorable discharge. I'm sure it did, because I have my back pay from, I got my back pay from the time where I signed up for my disability pension. So they gave me my money. You know what I mean? They gave me my money and everything, and I did this just like in 2020, 2019. I didn't even know about the program to begin with. I didn't even know about it. Like, true enough, like, you go into the military, you know, you're going to get benefits. You know, you're going to get benefits, especially if you don't AWOL, or you go into the military and you come up out of there with an honorable discharge. They gonna look out for you. But you never see women of color in the higher ranks of active duty. Like, you see all the generals, and like you see the colonels and stuff like that, they're all European males. You never see women of color in those ranks. That's another reason how I know, like, you shouldn't be caught in those situations. If you're a female, you shouldn't be caught in those situations. You know, a lot of women of African descent, they're in the military, and you got to be careful. You know, you got to be very careful. You know, because men, the way men operate, when you see them in those situations, right, it'll be one situation where it's just like, okay, I'm talking to this person, I'm getting along with them, but if they see an opportunity to take advantage of you, and they know, like, it's the end of ends, they're going to do something that you are going to, like, formally regret, you know. So, like, I would say, start making your rounds to your therapist while you're in the military. So when you get out, you'll have a case for mental health. Start getting your paperwork in order, you know, because you got to take advantage of the military. You can't let the military take advantage of you. That's what I would tell them, you know. Um, you got to be very careful about dealing with the higher ups, you know, because you think about it, they already owe indigents a lot of money. They already owe us a lot of money, just by the way they handled the government over the years. Um, you know, making it unsafe to travel, like all type of stuff. So, but like her father, Lavena Johnson's father, right? He wanted the pictures to be released. He wanted the pictures to be, where people could see what happened to his daughter. And that was just like another case of like what happened to Emmett Till, Lavena Johnson. That was just like another case of that. And he said in one of his interviews, he was like, she may have said something that kind of ticked someone off. Because they don't like that, what they did to her, right? Sprayed chemical, lacerations inside her and stuff like that. Like, that's not something a black person would do. You know what I mean? They really did her dirty, dirty, dirty. Like, and I don't even advise the one to even look at those photos if they even come across them. Like, so I think she had a broken arm. She had bruises. Like they did her messed up, man. And this is the reason I had to talk about it is because someone from Africa, right? They just did a video about, women in America going into the military. And they talked about the Lavena Johnson incident. And I'm like, they're talking about that over there right now. Like, I remember when that freshly happened, like, they was talking about that on BTR. Like, that was like, man, 2010 or something like that. Like, yeah. So the weather is starting to heat up. So, when you travel, you got to be careful. You know what I mean? The weather's starting to heat up. You got to be careful how you travel. Great peace. Yakoki.